And welcome back to the 12th man. I've got three great fans from three great clubs. Well, we'll count Arsenal as a great club, but we don't like them very much, Gary, do we? But lads, delighted to have you on. Final day of the season. Great to have his ways. He's on 350 grand a week, and he's literally doing.
Thanks for having me, Gareth.
It's honestly just getting things together.
So only one question card for me. Like Monday, my opinion is like the game every Well, that's final day of the season. I'll tell you what, it's been a long season after we've been it feels like a million years ago we were top of the league, and after being our Fulton Derby, I tell you what, that's this second half of the season's been an absolute drag. But final day of the season's here. Depending on who you support, there's still a lot to play for. Including our three teams today. Let's start with you, Owen. Welcome to the show. I know you've been a big fan of the show all season. And
thanks for having me. Thank you.
Big game for Liverpool today. How would you sum up the season so far?
It's been a tough one, especially because we've had the injuries and we've had COVID and everything. It's just been a bad season, especially coming on as defending champions. I didn't think we'd be in this position, fighting for fourth in the last day, that's for sure. I thought we'd be up there challenging for the league, but sure, what can you do, eh?
Yeah. Gary, Spurs fan, welcome to the show. I've met you on Chris Cullen's show a few times. It's great to have you on the 12th man. How would you sum up Spurs this season? Did you know?
Spursy. Listen, first off, thanks for having me on the show, Gareth. Really, real pleasure. What can I say about Tottenham? I mean, it's just been typical Tottenham at the end of the day, mate. I mean, I don't expect anything different. I mean, back in December, when we were top of the league and, you know, there was not all fans, but some fans were getting excited. I never got excited about that, mate, because I knew Spursy, we're not going to hold on. We're not going to win the league. It is what it is. But what I didn't expect, mate, is to go downhill as much as we have. I mean, you know, say what you want.
Gary, to get to the final day of the season and it's down to Arsenal possibly finishing above us. That's how bad it's been. You know, we were 12 points clear at one point, I think. So,
you know how I feel about Arsenal. You know, all we've got now is finishing above Arsenal, and that just shows how bad of a season it's been. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's just been an absolute nightmare of the season, mate. The emotions, getting to a Carabao Cup final, blowing it, not turning up, you know, and that includes all the players. Even the players that some fans backed, Son, Kane, didn't turn up in another final as usual. I mean, it's just same old Tottenham at the end of the
And
day.
there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Spurs at the moment, and we're going to come on to that later on in the show, talking about obviously the big story around the Premier League at the minute, Harry Kane. Doc, welcome back to the show. Before I welcome you in, Stephen Solari, big follower of the show. I might see you later on for a pint today. I'll see you. Where's my shout out, and welcome back to the show. Kevin, obviously, it's been a very tricky season for Arsenal as well. It started very, very poorly. Talk of a relegation battle, but there's been an upturn in form in the second half of the season, and it's led to you possibly finishing over Spurs and possibly playing in Europe next season. So, how would you sum up Arsenal's season so far?
First and foremost, I'm sorry we had to teach you a wee football lesson during the day road there now, guy. But all's forgotten. They were on the show and we'll get on.
Well, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, I scored the most goals today out of everyone. So, I mean, I can't be blamed for my team losing the game.
I don't know. I wasn't keeping count, but I'll let you have that. Yeah, so finished. It's ruining football, these extra competitions and stuff like that. But we can't even make the Europa League. Like, I was thinking maybe if we were in the Europa League, we could check a few decent players in the summer. But who the hell's going to want to play in the Europa Conference League? Is it like, so it's the different bracket after the Europa League? It's going to be another competition. Is that what it is?
It's like a third tier. So it's basically, I think there's 4 Irish teams can qualify for it. So again, you know the standard of the Irish League. Obviously, he's played Dundalk this year. And they didn't even get a point in your group. So that's the kind of standard it's going to be at, and we don't want to be up against that, really.
No, I don't know if I even want to be involved in it, Gary. Like, to be honest, it's awful.
Yeah,
but get it on the day and see what happens.
Would you? We'll come back to you. We'll come back to the Arsenal Spurs thing, but come back to you on Liverpool. Start off with previewing today's game. So Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Obviously, a victory secures top 4. Roy Hodgson's last game, we know, he was chased out of Liverpool. He had a very poor time when he was there. So, do you think that's really? And Liverpool against Crystal Palace, they've had a few issues since Klopp's been there playing Palace at home. So, are you slightly nervous about today?
A wee bit, because Palace obviously have not had to play for it out, so Hodge might just let them play freely, and obviously we are defence. Anyone can cause us problems at the minute, so I'm obviously slightly nervous, but I think we'll have enough to get over the line and get the victory. We need to secure Champions League. So I'm slightly nervous, but quietly confident at the same time.
Yeah. Gary, obviously Spurs can do Liverpool a huge favour if they beat Leicester. Do you think we've got a chance of beating Leicester? We haven't been great this second half of the season, but you've seen in the second half of the season, we've still gone to places like Aston Villa and won. So, there is a possibility Spurs could turn up today, and I think you summed it up perfectly. Spurs are like a bag of pick-a-mix. You just don't know what you're going to get. So, what are you expecting today against Leicester?
Yeah, and I'm the pick-and-mix king, didn't you? I've got all my sweets ready. I'll be sending videos to all the boys and all my sweets. They still don't believe I eat that much. This is what I go towards when I'm depressed. My pick-and-mix sweets, mate. That's all I got in my life. Listen, do I think Tottenham can win? Of course they can win today. Listen, it's been a mad season. Look, I don't want to remind you of it, Liverpool, but Villa did turn Liverpool over a massive result. No one saw that one coming. No one saw it.
I remember
it. United did turn them over. All right, so anything can happen on a day, especially with the shocking VAR decisions. The refs that don't know their arse from their elbow. Anything can happen. Do I think we're going to beat Leicester today? Do you know what? We probably will, I think, because we've kind of blown it anyway, really. We should have beaten Villa, which we didn't. So it'd be typical Tottenham for us to probably win today and finish 7th and get the God, I don't even know what you call that. Conference Cup, Audi, B&M. I don't even think it's a trophy. Is it like is it a plate or a saucepan or something? I mean, it's just
No, this is the problem. Even if you want it, the prize is they play in the Europa League the following season. Whereas the Europa League's prize is that you get into the Champions League, which does take a bit of glamour off it. Doc, coming to you, home to Brighton today. Brighton have had a history of getting results against Arsenal over the last few seasons, especially at the Emirates. Are you nervous about today's game? Obviously you see my Facebook posts and Twitter posts, and I'm a big fan of Graham Potter. Brighton play great football. And there's a lot of talk about Potter possibly moving on from Brighton. They're a team that are pushing higher up the league. So, do you think this is a tricky game for Arsenal today?
I do. I'm not really nervous for it because we have nothing to play for. Essentially, I thought we had an outside chance in the Europa League, and then Brian told me this morning. My brother was like, "Well, Spurs are too far. Or West Ham it was because they were playing the night after Arsenal. That's why it was so close. But then they won against West Brom. So no, I'm not even going to say it because I'm going up to work at 2:00. So I hope we get the victory. And I think we will get the victory. We played well against Crystal Palace and Perch, but so hopefully we get the one today. No, I'm not nervous.
Yeah. Gary, is there a bit of feedback on your side?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I think I can hear that. Coming back to you, and it's been a strange season. Liverpool lost 6 games in a row at home. Before the international break, I think they might have been 5 or 6 points behind. Not a lot of people. Everyone sort of thought that the Champions League was going to be their best, and winning the Champions League was going to be their best way back into the Champions League. But they've gone out of that, and they've wouldn't say they've probably profited off the likes of Chelsea dropping points and Leicester dropping points, but they've put together a very good run too. They've had to dig deep in certain games. Beating Villa, last minute goal, and last minute goal with the goalkeeper against West Brom. Me and Gary were talking about. I can't remember. Spurs haven't had too many of them this season. We've seen they struggle. They get over the line in games. Liverpool have been doing that recently. So do you think that shows the mentality in the squad, and that's the difference between Liverpool and Spurs at the moment?
Definitely, we've always had that where we can score a last minute goal or a last minute equalizer or something like that. So I definitely think there's something there. Klopp installs it in the players, as he says. As he calls us, mentality monsters, as he says. So we didn't see that at the start of the season, but coming towards the end of it, I think we've had a reform at the right time.
Do you know what? I have predicted a lot of Liverpool wins on this podcast before, but I think there was a couple of times then I went, I think the Fulham game I called Fulham beating them. The day I do expect Liverpool to win, but the fact they've lost so many games at home on, I know the fans were back today, and that makes it a bit more of a favour to Liverpool or more advantage. But do you think that it's just too, and if it's been too strange of a season to say it's a guaranteed victory today, that there's still a lot of work to be done?
Well, definitely. I definitely think we need the first goal. If Palace get the first goal, I think we'll struggle. But hopefully we'll get over the line. But as you say, it's been a strange season, so anything can happen in this league.
Yeah. Gary, we've been talking about it a lot, me and you, on the Chris's show, the mentality of the Spurs team, the mentality of, previous Spurs teams. We just, how many chances have we had this season? Every time a team drops points, we can never take advantage. What do you put that down to, Gary? Just a lack of character and a lack of...
They're just bottle jobs. I mean, listen, look, it says something when you think we're top of the league. I think personally, we've had a million more. I mean, look, Arsenal, this is which sort of grates on me. Arsenal could finish above us, but really they're not bothered if they do or don't because it's the Conference Cup nonsense. But Tottenham, we're top of the league in December. We're fresh. Any team in front of us. We're doing City. We're doing Arsenal. We're going to Old Trafford and hammering them. We're looking like a good unit, a team. And then the players just bottle it like they always do. I mean, I said this before. I don't think any team had as many chances this season to get top 4 and even come to think of it, even Europa, than Tottenham Hotspur. I think we've been given so many get out of jail cards more than any team. You can't knock Liverpool, right? Like I said to you a minute ago off camera, Gareth, my whole family revolves around a Chelsea fan, my wife, a Liverpool fan, my mum, a Chelsea fan, my brother, a QPR fan, my dad. Some of my best mates are Arsenal. So I see it for real for what it is.
Yeah.
And Tottenham have had more chances to get a top 4 or at least secure a Europa League than any other team. So at the end of the day, we can only blame ourselves. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago off camera, the fact that Liverpool, went on that bad run and lost 5 or 6 games at home. Yes, they've had injuries. They've had some bad injuries. Other teams can say, well, we've had some injuries as well, but they've had a bad injury. I remember Klopp saying a few months ago, top 4 is completely gone. If you can get to a stage where your goalkeeper goes forward in the 95th minute and scores a header like that, I don't even see any of our forwards scoring headers like that. And Arsenal is the same. When you see Liverpool in a game like that and their goalkeeper going forward and scoring a header like that, I think you've just got to hold your hands up and say they want it more. They're more aggressive on the ball. They've got more ambition. And let's face it, they deserve it more than what Arsenal or Tottenham or any of them teams floating behind. And
Gary, you never you never sort of think with Spurs when they're 1 each or they're 2-1 down. You never sort of sense they're going to come back and score. You just never get that. I don't know why that is. Whereas Liverpool, we even talked about Arsenal off camera. We say, "Oh, they'll be last minute goal here." You just never sort of sense that with Spurs. But Chris is watching the show. Chris is saying a big day for Spurs today. We need we need European football next season. Obviously we secure European football with a win, no matter what happens. We'll be guaranteed 7th place. So Gary, is that crucial? We get that one today to ensure we're at least in Europe next season.
Do you know what? There's a lot of mixed views on this. There's a lot of Tottenham fans and a lot of Arsenal fans saying they don't want this, 7th place. And for me personally, I'd still take it if it meant we get European football and we finish above Arsenal, because that's how little we have to hold on to. So for me, I'd still take it. I know if you go through it, you get like a saucepan or a silly, ridiculous trophy. But at the end of the day, we're celebrating the Audi Cup. We've not won a trophy since 2008. Joe, I remember us winning the FA Cup. I didn't think I'd be doing YouTube channels with you, Gareth, 30 years later, talking about when I last saw us win the FA Cup. It's an absolute joke.
Realistically, Gary, I've never seen. I was born in 1987. I've never seen Spurs win the FA Cup. There you go. Doc, you've seen Arsenal win a lot.
Gareth, go ahead, Gary, go ahead. Do you know what? Arsenal, even when Arsenal are doing bad, they've still won the FA Cup record, 14 times now. So you've got to take your hats off to them. Liverpool, they've had a tough season. They're going to secure top 4. Tottenham have a great season. We bring Gareth Bale over. Harry Kane is still on for Golden Boot. Son just won a trophy earlier. I don't know what it was, but he's won something. We get all these individual trophies, but when it comes to club trophies, we just bottle it. It's frustrating, and I go back to what I was talking about the other day. The difference with Tottenham at the moment is the mentality of the players. We used to go into games, and when it was in the 85th and 90th minute or whatever, we were still pushing forward like we'd score a goal. I don't know if it's a fitness problem, a confidence problem, or the players just don't care.
I think it's a mixture of both, Gary. I think it's a mixture of all that. I do think the fitness is really. I watched that Leeds game, and Leeds were absolutely ripping them, just fitness-wise. On the ball, they were brilliant, but we could match the runners and stuff. But like us today in Beirut, Doc, in the last 15 minutes, we couldn't match your team. You're running all of this. But obviously, Doc, you've seen a lot of FA Cup ones at Arsenal. Are you fussed today? If you haven't finished above Spurs for a few years now. I think this will be maybe 6 seasons in a row if it doesn't happen today. So, are you sort of looking at that and thinking we need to finish above Spurs?
Not really, guy. At the end of the day, I don't like Spurs, but at the end of the day, finish above Spurs, water off a duck's back to me. I want to see my club winning trophies. I want to see my club fucking a lot higher up the league than fucking.
Are you more concerned? Are you more concerned that West Ham are finishing above both teams?
Yeah, but West Ham's had a great season at the end of the day. So it is concerning, but do you think they'll finish above Arsenal next season? I don't think so.
Doc, what do you think's missing at Arsenal at the moment? What do you think's missing at Arsenal at the moment?
I think some real quality players is missing. The young boys coming through has been an absolute credit. And they've been that good. You forget what age they are at times. Fucking Saka's 18, 19. Smith Rowe.
Saka's been brilliant.
Aye, so consistent. And then
really
Martinelli's had his injuries. So a lot of Arsenal fans is frustrated. They want to see more and more of him. But at the end of the day, it's the manager's job to protect these young boys as well and stop them from getting serious injuries that's going to affect their career in the long run. So I think we'll see more of him next season too.
Doc, I've had you on before, and you've always been saying trust Mikel, trust the process. It's come under a lot of fire since the Europa League exit. I know they've had a few good results in the league since going away to Chelsea and winning, and they're on a bit of a good run at the moment. I think they're on their best run of wins in the league this season. Where do you stand with Mikel? Is he one of the problems why Arsenal are sitting where they are? Or does he deserve at least more? Does he deserve more time?
At the end of the day, the manager has to take some of the flack as well. And he's held his hands up. He's big enough to admit that he's got it wrong at times. Like Villarreal in the Europa League, he was far too conservative in the first half. Go out and have a fucking go instead of worrying about not conceding an early goal. But I think he deserves one more season, definitely, and then we'll judge him at the end of next season.
See, next season, does it have to be top 4?
It has to be top 4. We're far too big a club.
Yeah.
We're
coming back to you, there's been a lot of pressure on Klopp as well. they deliver, at least Champions League football this season. If he does that today, does he deserve the financial backing from the owners in the summer to go and strengthen? Because at the moment, Man City are looking strong, Chelsea are looking very strong. United's not going to go in; they're only going to get stronger as well. So the Liverpool need to strengthen in the summer to challenge next year again.
We definitely do. Whether the owners will give him the financial backing is another thing. They seem they want to sell players to buy. I've seen a lot of talk of Salah going. I've seen Mane's been like with Dortmund over the past 24 hours. So I don't know if one of the big players will have to go until we buy someone, if you understand.
Yeah.
And I can't see the owners spending big money, but we definitely need to strengthen in some areas, especially the midfield if one of them goes.
Do you know what, lads? All three of us have something in common, or all four of us actually. All four of us have something in common. We all support clubs where owners are becoming under real pressure. Arsenal definitely over the last few years there's been a lot of pressure. More so now, Levy's under serious pressure, and you can even see during that Super League, Liverpool have put a bit of pressure on the owners as well. All three owners seem to be looking to sell, they buy, and only spending what the club earns. They're not willing to inject their own money the way Man City do, the way Chelsea do. So, Gary, Owen's talked about hearing about Salah possibly being sold. They strengthen the squad. Do you think it's a real concern that Spurs might sell Kane to try and strengthen?
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of things to take into account with this Harry Kane situation. He's made it quite obvious he wants to leave. We've all seen his interview with Gary Neville doing his golf and everything else, but he is still in contract to 2024. He may want to leave. He may be pushing to leave, but ultimately the decision lays with Daniel Levy. And Daniel Levy is like getting blood out of a stone. So if Kane was to stay for one more season, I wouldn't be surprised. If he was to go to Man City, I don't think there's any other team realistically. He's not going to go to Chelsea. It's not going to happen because he'd be under more danger and threats than what Sol Campbell was. So that's never going to happen in a million years. And he's got more morals and integrity than what Sol Campbell has. So that's never going to happen. No disrespect, mate. All right, but it's he's not going to go to Man United. He's not going to go to Liverpool. But to be honest with you, I'm at a stage now where if Harry Kane goes, he goes. All right, we cash in and we try and strengthen the team. And if he stays, he stays. I mean, no one player.
You're right. You know what? I've seen a lot of, and I actually defended Harry Kane on Chris's show after the final. We were on that show. People have been saying that Kane hasn't really done it in the big games for Spurs, but
he's done a lot throughout the season.
He scored. He's joint top goal scorer in the Premier League this season. He's got the most assists. Son scored a lot of goals.
Exactly.
He's had per games, yes, but Son scored a lot of goals. Bale scored 9 Premier League goals. I think together, they might have scored about 45, 46 goals. There's a front three, right? Nearly 50 goals between them, but yet we're languishing in 7th place. Surely the problem.
You said the point there. He's joint goal scorer at the moment with Salah. I don't know who's going to get the golden boot. It probably looks more likely to be Salah because they're playing Palace, and I think they've knocked 7 past them before, whatever it was. So there's probably the chances are, but you've got to look at Harry Kane and look at the midfield and the defence and the people setting him up to get goals in comparison to Liverpool at Salah. So you would say to yourself, Harry Kane probably deserves it because he's had to do it in a very mediocre team. A bit like Saka has had to really play in a mediocre Arsenal team. As a kid, he's had to take that whole team by the scruff of his neck and carry it when Aubameyang's not done it this season. I mean, you look at that. You look at like Mane and Salah and stuff. You think, well, Mane's been very quiet, and he's in. I know what Liverpool have had injuries, but if you compare all of the sides, I think if you look at Harry Kane and you look at the amount of assists he's got and goals in that team, I think you'd have to take your hat off and say he's done bloody well because it's a very, very average Tottenham side, and you know how I feel about Harry Winks.
Oh, don't get me started. Hey, we've had too much Winksy time recently. He's not worth any more chat, to be honest. But Gary, I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of time to reflect in the last few days. Harry, I've looked back at previous games, his body language. He just looks like a very frustrated figure. Talk almost how Aubameyang looks at times at Arsenal. Doesn't get enough service. I think Kane at times has to provide the service. I think he's very frustrated with his teammates, and I was frustrated at the interview he did. I think he should have waited until after today to do it. I think I could have waited a week. But I think what he was saying, Yeah, what he was saying actually, but in the interview, if you've watched all of it, boys, I know me and Gary have.
All of it, yeah.
I think he's challenging Daniel Levy to go and sign players, and he's willing to stay. I didn't quite grasp, but he said that he said obviously he wants to move on and find better challenges, but he did say if the chairman was to come on and buy a few players, he would stay.
That's you've hit the nail on the head. This could be his last chance, his last kind of shot at calling Daniel Levy out and saying, listen, you've got to bring in a big name manager and you've got to back the manager and you've got to spend a few $100 million. Or it's not even spending a few $100 million. It's just sourcing good players like what Leicester do and stuff. That's really all it is. I mean, we won't go down the road of talking about, when we got rid of Bell and what players we got in, because we know it was a disaster. But that might be what Kane is saying. I mean, he has said he wants to play alongside De Bruyne and bits and bobs, and that would be his dream now. But I don't think it means that's the end of Harry Kane this season. I think it might be his last chance, because I think Daniel Levy and Harry Kane had a conversation last season. It was a very similar one to what they're going to have this season. And I think he's saying, listen, you need to back the club and back the new manager that comes in, or I'm gone. And I think it's kind of like, it's Harry Kane's last attempt at saying it before he does eventually leave and go to Man City. And look, no one can really begrudge him. If he wants to go Man City and win trophies and win the league, then fair play. But what I will say, and I don't mean this in a malicious way at all, but it is a little bit of an easy way out. If he leaves Tottenham and goes to Man City, he's going to win the Premier League, he's going to win an FA Cup, he's going to win a Carabao. It is slightly an easy way out, but I understand.
Yeah. But you know what, Gary? These credit. I remember he done an interview in 2017, I think, and he said he closes his eyes and he dreams of winning the Premier League in the Spurs new stadium. I really think that he stayed because he knows how much of an achievement it will be to win it with Spurs. If he goes to Man City, he's going to a team that's won it 4 times in the last 5 years. Do you know what I mean?
I think at the moment, Gareth, if even if we go into that Conference League and Tottenham won that would be a massive achievement for Tottenham at the moment.
I'll tell you what, it was a dream a few years ago. It's a crazy dream now. I just don't see it happening in the next few years. But
look, we like Arsenal, we needed to, Arsenal, haven't had a good season this season, but last season they won the FA Cup. It would have been a similar thing for us. We needed to win that Carabao Cup and then build from that. Bring in a little bit of silverware. It's a Mickey Mouse Cup to a lot of the big teams like Liverpool and stuff like that. But we need to be realistic. I think that would have given the players a bit of confidence and we could have pushed on. I think the fact that we lost that cup final, it's kind of just snowballed and got worse from there. But, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what do you think, Doc? Who's had the worst season this season? Would you say Arsenal or Tottenham? Because I don't know. It's a difficult one.
I would say probably Arsenal. Spurs looked really promising. See, was it a White Hart Lane or the Emirates? We split us 2-0.
No, Emirates or White Hart Lane.
Tottenham's ground, Tottenham.
These were very, very good that day, and I said, "Seekers, they look a real outfit season." And then the decline after that was just like Seekers.
Just like wah. Well, not was it just
crazy. And then Mourinho away.
It's a tough one, Doc, because I look at Liverpool and I see the run of their home defeats they had, which was just unthinkable. It just doesn't happen. But a big thing for Tottenham was when we lost to Liverpool in that last minute. Matey with the I forgot now, but he got the last minute header. I think that for Tottenham was kind of a bit of the decline, and also the 3-3 with West Ham. But if you look overall at Tottenham's season in the league, we haven't really been embarrassed. We haven't lost too badly to any side. We've just got no consistency. If you look at Liverpool, they are going to get top 4 this season, but they have been embarrassed in the league, and they've had some really shocking results, and they've gone on really bad.
They broke records, haven't they? That's 6. They lost 6 games in a row at home. That's never ever happened before. They lost 7. Yeah.
No, that's 7.
I'm trying to think. Arsenal, there hasn't been many very shocking league results for Arsenal either. I think the thing for you guys, the pinnacle was you had to get to that Europa League final. If you got to that Europa League final, and even if you didn't win it, but you still got to that final, I think that's acceptable. But I think not getting to that final in the position what you was in was a little. I mean, look, it wasn't as bad as Tottenham's, because Tottenham only needed to score 1 goal, and the manager's in prison. I mean, you just can't write it.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I don't know who's worse. I mean, Doc, you say Arsenal, but then I think to myself, maybe it's Tottenham. I think we're as
I
bad
think
as
that,
each other.
I think to
this
be honest,
season.
lads, they're just as bad as each other. Man, you just can't
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah,
Look,
exactly. Bad as each other.
last question on Harry Kane. What do you think will happen this summer? Do you think he'll move on? He said that he'll decide his future, not Daniel Levy. But he's not. He's got 3 years in his contract. We know how difficult Daniel Levy is. They negotiate with. Who'll decide Kane's future? Him or Levy?
I think I haven't seen this interview you're talking about as well, but I hear what you're saying. It's very interesting. But I think he's away this summer, Gary. He's stayed longer than he should have. He's not going to win the league with Spurs.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think, Gary, you said, as a Spurs fan, it's frustrating and you think he's taking the easy way out. But I think at the end of the day, a player of that caliber has to be playing with the best players in the world. And he's been playing with the Spurs, and I think he deserves it. And he deserves to get the opportunity to want to play with quality players. So I think he'll be away this summer, and I don't think you could begrudge him of it either.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll hold it against them. Coming back to today's game, so there's still a lot to play for. Liverpool, if they can get their one, they don't have to worry about anyone else. We haven't touched on Chelsea. Chelsea have got a big game today. Is there a possibility that Chelsea could slip up and Leicester could sneak in if they beat Spurs? How do you see it going?
I would like to see that happen because I think overall this season, I think Leicester deserve it. And I don't like Chelsea, so I wouldn't want them to get on, but they could get on anyway if they won the Champions League. So it's sort of, what do they prioritise?
Yeah, I actually think that Liverpool and Chelsea will both win today. But and if that happens, it won't matter what happens in the Leicester game in terms of the top four. But Owen, you've had Brendan Rodgers as your manager before. He's had a lot of credits given to him, but if they were to miss out on the top four, do you think that he's a bit of a crossroads with Leicester? That if 2 years in a row they've missed out, Chelsea's stronger next year, Liverpool's going to get stronger. I think Spurs and Arsenal can only get stronger from where they are. And you've also United who aren't going to go anywhere. Man City aren't going to go anywhere. So it's going to be very difficult for Leicester to get that opportunity again. So the fact he's won his FA Cup, do you think that's possibly a good way to him for leave? If say a Spurs come on from, let's just say, is that a bit more of a tempting offer if they don't finish in the top four today?
It could be, because I don't think they'll get a better chance. As you say, every team's going to be stronger next season, and he's won the cup. So what more else can he do at Leicester, really?
Yeah. Gary, what about you? If Spurs can deny Leicester top four today, that obviously goes a long way to maybe making if we have to win for ourselves, but if there's any way of persuading Rodgers to come, maybe a one today, if they miss out in the top four, he might feel that his time at Leicester's up. We've obviously both said that we would like Brendan Rodgers to come on. So is that what you're sort of hoping for?
Well, I think it's possible. It could happen. I mean, like I said, I don't think the FA Cup is really a big enough thing to keep him there. And in some ways, them winning the FA Cup might give him more influence to actually leave, because he's leaving after he's won the trophy. So in some ways, maybe if Leicester, well, not maybe because they've won the FA Cup, but maybe if they fall out of the top four, there's more likelihood of Daniel Levy being able to sway him to Tottenham. Because I think if they get in the top four, and whether they won or lost the FA Cup, I don't think it makes much of a difference. I think he stays because you've got Champions League football and everything else. I do think Leicester are going to miss out on the top four. Do I think we could prize in Brendan Rodgers? I think a lot of fans and a lot of people are saying, why would Brendan Rodgers come to Tottenham? But, I know everyone talks about it, and I get frustrated when they talk about it, but we have got a big, shiny stadium and everything else, and all the facilities. And Daniel Levy is a money man, and he could double his wages or certainly increase them. And he could, tempt him over. So it is possible. Do I personally want Brendan Rodgers? I prefer him than Nuno, because as soon as Nuno got the sack, I was like, oh no, please.
Well, no. I think that's been ratified that Nuno's not even on the shortlist. So he's not. He's very similar to Mourinho. He's very his counter attack and stuff, and he sits back. It's not what we want.
Yeah.
As soon as he got sacked, I think I sent the photo to you, didn't it?
18 months, and he wants to take time out and see his family. So maybe,
I don't think he's. I don't think what Alistair Gold's put out, what the club's looking for, they're looking for free flow and attacking football. Somebody work with young players. He doesn't really fit that, So I don't think it'll be him.
Brendan Rodgers is your man.
Yeah. Doc, coming to you. Do you sort of think that if Leicester fall out of the top four today, it makes Rodgers think where Leicester can go from there? Because realistically, they're not going to get any more chances. I don't think they finish in the top four. I think these teams are going to get stronger next year, and the mentality of the team is going to be fractured after coming so close. Is there a chance that Rodgers could be tempted by a Spurs or even a Arsenal where he sack Arteta somewhere and bring it? Look at Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal might be a bit more tempting than Spurs, but I think I don't know. He's got a good project at Leicester. The recruitment's been excellent. There's some great players there.
Scott, tell me, a lot of see if this was Spurs the last 2 seasons, we're in the top 4 all season, and where they fall out on the last day or the second last day, like it happened over the last 2 years. Leicester didn't make it last year; they fell out on the last day. They were 3rd for most of the season. Today they were 3rd, 4th most of the season. They dropped out the other night to Liverpool, and if results don't go their way today, they'll not make a top 4. Why has no one questioned the mentality of the Leicester team? No one said they're bottlers. Rodgers hasn't come under any pressure himself. What makes Leicester different? Player for player, they're probably better than Spurs and Arsenal anyway, all over the pitch at the moment. You look at players like Tielemans, Madison, and Didi.
A bit of squad depth, Gary. I think, especially when Madison got injured, they must have big time. The results.
Yeah, no, but they look at the results they've had, especially the second half of the season. They've lost to Fulham at home. They've lost to Newcastle at home. Sort of games you would expect Leicester to win. So do you think that Leicester are getting away with it in that aspect, that if they were sort of a bigger club, they would come under a bit more criticism?
Definitely, but I just think at the end of the day, I don't agree with they won't have another chance of getting to top 4 again, because look at where they are in the league. The league table doesn't lie, and although they've had a bad second half of the season, there's a lot of reason for optimism next season, and they're a very attractive club for players they want to sign for as well.
Gary, I mean, I can't get my head around it. People were saying if they finish 5th, it's an achievement. If they stayed last year when they finished 5th, it was an achievement. It's an achievement if you're a team like West Ham, who's been sort of in that position all season. If they finish 6th, they'll say, fair enough. They haven't really been in the top 4 for most of the season. But Leicester had such a big advantage. They were so far clear last year, so far clear again this year. If they don't get in, is it really an achievement?
But I think Gareth, that, one of the big points is, and I'm not just saying this all because I'm a Tottenham fan and stuff, but there is a real hidden agenda and hatred towards Tottenham, especially with Sky Sports. And so when you're watching Sky Sports,
I agree.
I'll give you an example. I watched the Tottenham Wolves game the other week, and it doesn't happen very often, but they give a losing team player man of the match.
Connor Cody
skinned him to get the goal. And you think to yourself, Tottenham are never ever going to get a man of the match when we lose a game, and all of a sudden we're not getting man of the match when we win a game. I mean, Leicester are always the underdogs and stuff like that, but Tottenham, when you're talking about Sky Sports and you're watching Graham Souness and you listen to Gary Neville and Carragher, they all hate Tottenham.
You're right. I mean, Liverpool could be playing Crystal Palace today, and I guarantee within the commentary they'll be talking about Harry Kane leaving Spurs. That's just the way it is.
Oh yeah, all it's going to be is Harry Kane. Harry Kane.
Do you know what I mean?
Listen, there's been an agenda against Tottenham. It's every season with Harry Kane. When Poch was at Tottenham, they were talking about him going to Man United. It's anti-Tottenham. It always has been and it always will. And I don't really know the reason for that. But
Kevin, what about you? Do you agree with? Is there an agenda against Spurs?
I don't know. I have a similar scenario in Arsenal's last game against Palace as well. We beat them 3-1. Pepe scored twice, and Palace player got man of the match. They were in the game for about 20 minutes, the whole match, and they give it to a Palace player as well. So that's my input there.
Owen, you know what? Owen, what about Sky Sports? They seem they love Liverpool. There's a lot of Liverpool players and ex-players on there, and they seem they always want Liverpool to do well. What do you think that is?
I honestly don't have an answer. Maybe it's because, not to sound big-headed, but maybe because we're a bigger club. I genuinely don't know.
So, lads, just a quick one. Just a very quick one, Gav, touching on that. If you want to see how biased Sky Sports presenters in the team are, watch the game when we beat Man United 6-1 at Old Trafford. And that whole game, half-time, full-time, is talking about nothing but how terrible Man United were. And there's hardly any credit given to Tottenham in that game whatsoever. Nothing.
Yeah, and then the following game, remember the following game, they were talking about how good Villa were when they beat Liverpool 7-2.
Yeah. It does happen, but like Doc said, it happens with Arsenal as well. I'm not saying it doesn't, but with Sky Sports, a lot of the time I watch it with the sound off because I jump in between YouTube channels because I can't tolerate how anti-Tottenham they can be. And it was a lot of straw for me the other day, giving a Wolves defender man of the match when, I mean, let's be honest, Dele Alli had a good game, Harry Kane had a good game, You know, there's a few good Tottenham players in there. And we won 2-0 for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Oh, and obviously Spurs, if they were to beat Leicester today and do Liverpool a favour, for them to finish top 6, they still need Southampton to beat West Ham at West Ham's at the London Stadium, where West Ham will have fans back. But West Ham probably profited from, you know, the obviously no fans being in the stadium because they were nearly relegated last year. So is there a possibility that Southampton could go there and do Spurs a favour today?
Maybe, but Southampton haven't been in great form either. Danny Ings is sort of going off the boil a wee bit, but I agree with you there. West Ham's fan base can swing it the other way at times, so it'll be an interesting watch. But I think West Ham will be too strong for Southampton.
Lads, before we go, we're going to get into the predictions for the games. Start the first game on the list here is Arsenal against Brighton. So we'll start with you, Owen. How do you see that game going? Score prediction?
3-1 Arsenal.
Gary, what about you?
It's a funny one, Arsenal and Brighton, because I can remember quite a few seasons Arsenal do struggle against Brighton. Seems to be a little bit of their bogey team. I think Brighton have helped us out a few times in top 4 and bits and pieces when they've been playing Arsenal. So I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw there. I think it's going to be 1-1.
What about you, Doc?
I'll go 3-1 Arsenal, same as Owen.
I actually think the same as you, Gary. Not surprising. I actually think it could be a draw, but I can see that there have been goals in it. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Aston Villa against Chelsea, Owen. Obviously, Chelsea, if they won, they'll be in the top. They'll finish third. You know, is there any possibility they could slip up here? You know, Chelsea have a real problem when they get in front, or even sometimes it's 0-0. They don't take their chances. You know, they haven't been scoring a lot of goals. You know, is there a possibility they could be punished today if that doesn't happen?
I think so, and you know what? I'm going to go with 2-1 Aston Villa 1. I think Aston Villa might just make it.
2-1 Aston Villa 1. British back. There you go. Gary, what about you? How do you see that game going? Villa Chelsea. I know your missus is out of the house, so you can speak freely.
Yeah, but that's all right. The wife's not here, so I can be honest. I said to her, "Yeah, you don't need to worry, babe. You're gonna breeze into the top 4. You're gonna hammer Villa." But I personally think Aston Villa will win today. Chelsea are away. It's at Villa's ground, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I think Aston Villa are going to win that 2-1.
2-1. Doc, what about you?
Yeah.
I'll go 2-1 the other way. 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. I think Chelsea might just do enough. I think I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea. But you know what, lads? I was reading Paul Merson's article yesterday on Sky Sports, and there is rarely a final day that all the things go to plan. There probably will be at least one shock on there. Whether it's West Ham losing, or Spurs winning, or Villa beating Chelsea, or even Palace. Imagine Palace were to go to Anfield and won. You just don't know.
Don't say that, please.
Quickly, let me say to you how it's never going to go to plan, because did you see the Brentford and Bournemouth game yesterday?
Yeah.
You've only got to look at that game and you see handball decisions, sending off, bad defending, VAR, referees. Anything can happen today, you know. You just can't predict any game, if you're honest. It's very difficult. No. Very, very difficult.
1-0 Chelsea for me in that game. Fulham, Newcastle, not much riding on it, Owen. Again, both teams not a lot to play for. You'll probably see 2 teams go at it. Should be a good watch for any neutrals that want to watch that game. Owen, how do you see it going?
I'm going to go 3-2 Newcastle.
3-2 Newcastle, right?
Do you know what? I'm going to go for a dull 0-0 on that one.
Funny one with Newcastle, they've been playing well this sort of last bit of the season. You know, pressure's on.
There's a young man playing in the centre of the park for them, Joe Willock. Looks an exceptional.
Yeah.
Willock's done well. He has done well, yeah. Doc, how do you see that going?
I'll go 2-1 and Joe Willock, they score a brace.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 the other way. Fulham, Scott Parker, go out in the high. Leeds against West Brom. Leeds can actually finish 7th today with a 12-goal swing. But the way they're playing, the way Leeds are playing, they might think it's possible. They're in great form. They put 4 past Burnley a few weeks ago. They put 3 past Spurs. Any chance they can get a big score today and hope Leicester do them a favour and beat Spurs by a few goals?
I don't think it'll be a 12-goal swing, but I'm going to go with a 4-1 for Leeds. I think Leeds will
4-1.
Yeah.
Gary, what about you? Leeds have been a breath of fresh air this year. You know, they play great football, and you know, it pains me watching them because player for player, they haven't got the players really, but they're just so good to watch.
Yeah. I think Leeds will win that big today. I think I'll probably go for a 3-0 win. But let me just very quickly, I just want to touch on that what you said, Gareth, about because this is where Sky frustrate me this season as well, because Arsenal can have a good game, you know, and if they win, they get a bit of praise, but not much. But if they lose, they get hounded, like what Tottenham do. But Leeds can go out and lose 4-0, and they still praise Leeds for going for it and playing attacking football. And
I remember I was on a pub at Christmas, and it was like I know the game finished 6-2, but it was 6-1 at the time. They Man United. And Martin Tyler was talking about how good Leeds were that day.
It's unbelievable.
It's 6. No, I know there is an agenda, but personally, I do enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I do, definitely.
Doc, what about you? You've got a big Leeds connection in the house. Oh, your dad's a Leeds fan. Your brother's a Leeds fan. You know, do they think they can finish above Arsenal next season?
Aye, Jesus. Our Patrick, they give 1-1. He's talking about top 4 and stuff like he's one of the players. But no, I'll probably go. I'll go 3-1 Leeds.
3-1. I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds today. Leicester against Spurs is the next game here on the list. Obviously, both teams have a lot to play for. Spurs obviously need to win to secure European football. They could also win, and if West Ham were to lose, they could sneak into that top 6. Owen, Leicester, obviously, if they won, they can still finish in the top 4 if results go us. So this is probably the most interesting game, to be honest, because a lot can happen. Funny enough, Gary, as you say, we're not on Sky Sports main event. We're not even on Sky Sports Premier League. We're stuck on Sky Sports Football.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on Sky Sports main event, Gary.
Liverpool.
But there you go. Owen, how do you see this game going, Leicester and Spurs?
I'm going to go for a 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Gary, what about you?
Well, are you asking my head or my heart? You know, look, I mean, I'd like to say we're going to win 2-1. Yeah, that's what my heart says, but my head says we're going to lose 2-1. So it really depends what Tottenham team turns up at the end of the day. If they've got any pride after playing so abysmal in the last game against Villa, they might turn up. You know, Harry Kane's going for that golden boot. You know, I think Salah's going to get at least a couple of goals today. So Harry Kane's obviously aware of that. So he knows he's got to score at least 1 or 2 goals as well. So that might be the only thing that goes in our favour. So I'll go for 2-1 Tottenham, Harry Kane to get both goals.
Yeah, Doc, obviously, if your result's correct, Arsenal are going to win, so Spurs will have to win. They finish above them. Do you see it happening?
Who's your tone?
Leicester.
Nah, I can't see it happening, to be honest, guy. I think he's might make a draw, maybe, but I think Leicester. I'll probably do 2 each as well, same as me. But
so nobody sees Leicester winning this game today, no?
No.
Possible.
I actually
bizarrely, I don't know why, because they outplayed us at our grounds, but
you know what?
It doesn't mean anything home and away. It doesn't, you know.
Leicester are very much very unpredictable too. You just don't know what Vardy hasn't scored a goal for a long time, but he always seems to score against us, mind you, Vardy. He always scores against us, but you know what? Harry Kane.
At one point, Gareth, they were 4-0 down to Newcastle, weren't they, at home?
Yeah, I think Vardy's only scored 1 goal in his last 17 games.
Very quiet, Vardy,
which is incredible.
When was that among the fantasy? Playing for team?
Right. Harry Kane absolutely loves playing against Leicester because they give him absolute stick every time he's there, and the fans there will probably help Harry. He'll be even more up for it. And do you know what? This could be his last game. Although I still think Sky Sports are telling you this is his last game. They're actually saying it's his last game. They think he's gone already. But
they would.
They would. But there's still a lot to go on. But if this is Harry's last game, I think he will sign off with a goal. And I'm going to go for we haven't seen it very much this season, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 Spurs 1. Liverpool against Crystal Palace this next game on. Are we going to see any shocks here? Are we going to see Roy Hodgson leaving Anfield with 3 points in his last game?
No.
Hopefully not. I'm going to go with a 4-0 1 for Liverpool.
4-0, right? No pressure at all. Gary, what about you?
I think we'll get goals.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will comfortably win this. They got the fans there. You know, like I said, Salah's going to be going for it. I think they'll win 3-0.
Yeah, Doc, what about you?
3-0 as well, guy.
Owen, is there any chance Salah might put his own personal accolade here ahead of Liverpool? If he's got chances to shoot, he might shoot instead of pass because it's been accused. Is that one thing you're worrying about today? That he might be focused on winning that golden boot?
Well, he did an interview recently where he said he could take his golden boots off him if it meant we finished top 4. So
Yeah,
depends
does he really mean that though? Because he's
I
actually
know,
it,
it depends what Salah turns up, but if I go to our front three, I'd be more confident with him scoring than any of the others at the moment.
you know what, hey? I don't think the way it's as straightforward as what people think. I am going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool victory. But they'd be very, very nervy. Very, very nervy.
I also like this one in header again.
Well, if that happens, I'm stopping. I'm not watching football anymore if he scores normal. Manchester City against Everton. Man City's title party will be well underway. Obviously, they'll lift the Premier League after the game. They'll should be buzzing. Everton obviously still have a chance of finishing in the European Conference League top 7 if they can get a result here. Owen, how do you see this game going?
I think Man City will win 3-0. I think it'll be a comfortable one. They'll be in celebration mood for winning the league, so I think they'll be comfortable.
Yeah. What do you think?
Me,
Sorry, score 3-0. Gary, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be comfortable for Man City. It's a celebration today, like you said, lifting the trophy. I mean, Everton could get a goal. They've got a bit up front, and I'll go for a 3-1 Man City, I think.
3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 as well, Gary. Before I sort of move on, everyone sort of thought that Ancelotti coming into Everton would be, it would change their mentality. Mourinho coming into Spurs would change their mentality. Yeah. It looks like Everton's going to finish out European football, so it'll be failure on Ancelotti's behalf. Mourinho's already been sacked. Is it just that these clubs, they're just too far gone to be saved by these managers?
Yeah. I think with the problem with Tottenham was we brought in such a big name, and again it goes back to the same thing before. He's like Marmite, Jose Mourinho, and they just love to get on the back of him. So as soon as he joined Tottenham, straight away they were just looking for him to fail. So I think with Ancelotti, and other managers like that, there's not as much pressure on them, but they've not really performed that great either.
No, I really thought Everton had a great chance this year under Ancelotti. They finished, top 6 at least, push for top 4, and they started good. Well. They already 4-1 their first 4 games, but it sort of fell off the wagon. And Doc, Man City against Everton. How do you see it going?
Let's go 3-1 City as well. Gary, I'm going to shoot on here and get a bite deep before we go to work. It was a pleasure meeting these men as well. And
no worries, Doc. No worries.
Yeah, I think you and me, Doc, we've got most of the same results. I think we've predicted a lot of the same results. Whether they'll come in or not, I don't know, but I think we've agreed on that before.
Not normal Arsenal and Spurs fans agreeing stuff, Gary.
That's up there. Doc, thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
It's where we are now.
Take care. All the best.
Top man.
Take care, Doc. Take care.
Obviously, next game here, Sheffield United against Burnley. Not much they play for both teams. Sheffield United down 1. Burnley finishing the season well. How do you see it going?
I'm going to go in 0-0. I don't think there'll be many. There's nothing to play for either team. So
yeah. Right, what about you?
I kind of hear what Owen's saying, but I think Burnley, they
too strong.
They are quite good scoring goals. So I'll probably say Burnley will win that 2-0, I think.
3-0. I'm going to go 2-1 Burnley. Wolves against Manchester United. Obviously, United have secured second place, but they're struggling. They won games at the moment. They've got that big final on Wednesday. They're probably going to rest a lot of players. What do you think will happen today? Nuno's last game too.
They're going to rest a lot of players. We have the final coming up, so whether they're really up for the game, as you say, second place. So I'm going to go with 2-1, Wolves 1. Actually, I think Wolves might get the result.
Gary, what about you?
It's a difficult one, this, because Man United got such good form away, haven't they? And they'll probably go behind, but I think I'll go for it's a tough one. Nuno's gone. I think I'm going to go for a 3-1 Man United win. I think they'll go behind and come back and win because they've done it all season. And Wolves are managerless as well at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Nuno will go out in the high. I think United will rest a lot of players, and Nuno will want to go out in the high. I think Owen called it right. I think I agree with you. Going to go 2-1 Wolves. And obviously the last game here, West Ham against Southampton, going to mean a lot for us if we can get the win, Gary. How do you see this game going
on? Southampton to win 7-0.
What about?
I think I will look to do Gary there, but I think West Ham will be too strong.
Maybe a draw, but I can't see West Ham losing. But let's just say West Ham are going to lose 2-0 because that's what I'm praying for.
Oh, what about you? What do you think's going to score?
I think West Ham will be too strong. Sorry to say, Gary, but
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
I think West Ham won 2-0. I'm going with
2-0. Gary, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they're too strong for them. But I'm a bit superstitious, so I'm just going to say West Ham are going to lose 2-0, and then
I'm going to go Southampton 3-1, and Spurs they finish in the top 6.
I think we need to. I think we need to, Gareth, even if we don't believe it ourselves, we have to say it.
Oh, and if you're free at 6 o'clock on Gary's on Chris's show, you might see a completely different Gary if things go drastically wrong today. He'll probably that their top will probably be ripped in two, and he might have to put on another vest again.
If things go wrong for Liverpool, I won't be seen ever again.
No. Gary, any tweets from the match today?
Mental. I've already pre-warned him, Gareth, but he's like, the more angry and upset you are, the better, Gareth. I'm like, all right, I'll have all my sweets with me, and I'm going to lose my head, but you never know. I could be on there later, and we could be finishing 6th, believe it or not. I mean, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Gary, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Lads, thanks for coming on. Really enjoyed the chat. Enjoy the last games of the season today. And let's hope, fingers crossed, all goes well, Chris.
Cheers.
Yeah, Gareth, I absolutely love being on the show. I really appreciate the invite, mate. So thank you very much indeed.
Definitely, Gary. I'll get you on again next season. Oh, no, definitely.
I'd love to.
Cheers.
Oh, and thanks very much, Gary. Thanks very much, Gary. I'll be tuning in later on to see how you get on.
Cheers, Owen. Nice meeting you, buddy.
You too.